going on? Hey, look, today I want to talk about denouncing the streets. What what's next after you denounce the streets? Give me 1 second. This live has been inspired by something I've been watching on YouTube for the past 3 weeks. I got sucked into this new drama on YouTube, and the drama is between Aunt Glizzy and the DC Blacks. All right. If you've been watching, you've been seeing what's going on. You've been seeing the tomfoolery that's been going on, and I want to touch on a couple things, right? So listen, we're gonna keep it brief. We're gonna keep it straight to the point. I might go into the whole DC Blacks Aunt Glizzy thing. I don't want to give it a lot of energy, but I might go into it at a later date. But this is the thing, right? When you're dealing with people such as Aunt Glizzy, people that are enticing and people that are promoting street violence, and they're really not in the streets like that, which is a good thing. But when you're dealing with people like that, and you are so called and you call yourself a street nigga, what are the rules and parameters after you denounce the streets? After you say you don't want to go back to prison, after you say you want to stop the youth from killing each other, right? A lot of times what I see is I see a lot of the old heads. Any city you go to, it's a group of old heads that have a campaign about stopping crime and helping the youth, right? And in the same breath, they'll tell you if they get into an argument with somebody, they gonna tell you what they gonna do to somebody and who they are. They'll even say that they're a street nigga. I want to really talk about the fact that there is no halfway crooks. You can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out because it's not gonna work. It's gonna end up real bad for you. What's up, man? Jay Z, what's up, big dog? What's going on? Appreciate you tapping in, man. So, what are the parameters? What is the protocol after you? Yeah, big time. What is the protocol after you feel like you want to leave the streets alone, right? And the conclusion I've came to is you cannot have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You got to totally denounce the rules. You got to totally denounce everything that comes with the so-called street life. See, the thing is, we were sold, right? We got sold some bullshit, right? They sold us some bullshit back in the day, and they still trying to sell it. It's getting unraveled now, right? But they sold us a fantasy, and they sold us some rules and some codes of conduct that are total bullshit. It took me a long time to realize that these code of conducts are total bullshit, right? Yeah, you have to stick to one side, dog. Like there's no I'm a street nigga and then I want to help the youth. Yeah, you can help the youth as a street nigga, but you cannot promote non-violence and still claim you a street nigga. Because street niggas, they carry out acts of violence. You understand? So, first, people got to understand when you say that you're a street nigga, you're already putting something, a stigma on yourself. You're already signing up for a bunch of rules and policies that you would have to adhere to. Okay? Now, if you say that you're not a street nigga, I don't even want to keep saying the N word. If you keep saying that you're not in the streets, right? You're gonna have to live like that. You're gonna have to become a productive member of society. You're gonna have to denounce the rules, the protocols, and all that bullshit that they sold us, right? There is no two ways about it. Because what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of the old heads still trying to live their glory days, right? They still trying to tell us how tough they are. They're still trying to tell us all the old plays that they did back in the day, right? And at the same breath, they talk about how they want to help the youth. Now, when we glorify what we did back in the day, it's some young kids out there that's going to hear that, right? And what they going to do is, I don't even talk to my son about any of the activities I might have partaken in back in the day. I don't talk to him about those things because I don't want him to say, "Oh well, my dad did it and he came out okay," right? Because I kind of did that. When I heard about my pops and some of the things that he was doing, I kind of said, "Well, shit, he all right. So I'm gonna have my little phase. Nah, I want my son to skip that phase. You understand? So I don't glorify any of that. I don't talk about any of that with him. I don't just go through like the war stories. A lot of fathers, they'll tell their kids the war stories of what they used to do. No, I don't want to encourage that. You understand? So a lot of the old heads, and shout out to them, man. Everybody has a process of learning. Everybody has a process of growing up. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I see is a lot of old heads, they base their whole identity on being a street nigga or ex-street nigga. And when you go up into a situation, like I said, with the Aunt Glizzy situation, you go up into some wild character. He's a wild character. All right. He's somebody I would want to stay far away from, whether I'm in the streets or not in the streets. When you see people like him, you stay far away from them because they want to pull you into some mess. You understand? And I've encountered a lot of people that have tried to pull me into some mess. And the thing is, I don't live that life. I want to be very clear. I don't live that life. I want to tell everybody that I come into contact with, I want them to know I don't carry an image like I live that life. I don't do no halfway stuff to look good in front of the ladies or the dudes. I don't do none of that. If you know me, you know I'm about work. You know I'm about my family. You know I'm about business. I'm not about none of that street shit. You understand? Yeah, he's a troll. That's right. He's a troll. But the thing is, he's trolling, but he's talking about real situations. You understand? And he got some real guys that are really upset with him. A lot of the DMV is upset with that man. You understand? So the thing is, it can get really ugly and really dangerous. So I've been watching the whole exchange, and I'm like, I'm confused as to why the DC blacks are even talking to this man. I'm confused. Why? See, when I heard DC Blacks, we know that's a prison gang. That's a prison crew. Those are people that are in prison in the federal penitentiary, and they're a group of people that look out for each other. When you go to the federal penitentiary, you have certain cars, the DC car. So I was really confused when I seen people from that group on the line with this man, because you would think that in this day and time, you would stay away from somebody that's trolling like that. You know what I'm saying? And now when the lines got crossed, when Aunt Glizzy started tarnishing their reputation, those phones should have went right off. Those phones should have went right off, dog. It should have been click. Phone should have been off. Offline. Wi-Fi is down. You understand? Now, for two reasons. Because once you go back and forth, now everything is documented, right? Once you go back and forth with this cat, everything is documented. But you also don't want to sit there and let somebody disrespect you and degrade you and pull you back into a space to where you might want to pull that old energy out. You understand? You have to go with this new energy. The new energy is taking care of family, paying bills, doing what's right, and making sure your family's straight. If you don't have kids, the energy should be taking care of business, shooting for future goals if you want kids to have a family one day. You dig? You don't want to deal with nobody that's going to take you off that path. Because it's very easy as a black man to end up in that prison system. It is extremely easy. Y'all know that as a black man, You could be living a peaceful life, happy, positive life. It takes 1 second. We can see the reality is us as black men, we can step out and go to the mall, right? And somebody can look at us wrong, or we can have, or somebody might think we're looking at them wrong, and now we in full blown beef. I've been through it. It's happened to me. I've been in fist fights in the mall. You know what I'm saying? For nothing. So the thing is, I don't even carry those vibes with me, dog. Um, a lot of people want to hold on to that image. A lot of people, let's just keep it real, man. Let's keep it tall. A lot of people want to hold on to that image, even a little bit. And I'm here to tell you, if you want out, you cannot hold. If you don't want to adhere by those rules, if you don't want to get dragged into those situations, you have to dispel that whole image. People don't understand what I've been through in my life because I don't want them to know. I want them to know the new me. You understand? I want you to know the grown man who takes care of his kids, who shoots videos, who does music stuff. You understand? I'm a humble guy. I don't want no problems with nobody. I don't want no beef. I don't want to have a pissing contest. You know, I don't even want to have a pissing contest, though. Uh, so yeah, man, there is no. Mob Deep said it correctly. There is no such things as halfway crooks. Either you in or you out. If you call yourself a street guy, you gotta be a street guy. No ifs, ands, buts about it. You gotta adhere by the no snitching rule. You gotta adhere by the eye for an eye, right? That's what comes along with it. Now you can say you're an ex street guy. You used to be in the street. I don't claim any of that. I'm just a man who's been through life. I've been through some things. All of this shit is corny at this point. I mean, look at it. You got a real popular prison gang or a representative from a prison gang on the line with a dude named Ant Glizzy that's just talking crazy about him. I mean, that's preposterous. They said the streets is a myth. I don't believe the streets are a myth. I believe the streets are real, but the street code is a myth. That's what I believe. Troy Ave said the streets are a myth. I believe the street code is a myth. They sold us some bullshit, dog. And you still got old heads out here trying to sell it. It was fake, man. It was Charleston White said something. He said that a lot of these gangs were started by kids. It made the most sense to me. My man said the Bloods and Crips were started by children. When they founded these gangs, they were children, dog. You got grown men out here representing, right, a gang that was started by a 14, 15, 16-year-old and representing it as if it's their life. Now, some people come from gang neighborhoods and it's their family and it's their culture. I understand that. West Coast stuff, I totally get it. Some East Coast, Midwest, down south, I get it. But a lot of these cats, man, they just came up and said, "Oh, it's cute. The women like it. I hear my favorite rapper saying, that I should gang bang, or he looks cool when he talks about being a Crip. So I'm gonna be a Crip now." Now trust me, I live in Maryland, right? Don't get me started, though. Look, I live in Maryland, right? It's a bunch of little gangs out here, right? There are no gang neighborhoods. And I'm not disrespecting none of the members. Because some people went to prison and they got with the gang and all that. Cool. But the reality is, on the West Coast, you got people that their fathers were gangbangers, their grandfathers, their grandmothers, their mothers and fathers were gangbangers. So they grew up in this culture. You understand? So it wasn't something that they picked up and said, "Hey, I want to do this." No, this is what they woke up to every morning. You understand? So back to my point. Back to my point. My point is, once you have grown out of that bullshit, right? Because I think us as black men, we come into a place to where we start that phase of being in the streets or doing bad things. Let me break something down to you real quick, right? Let me break something down to you. Because I want to ask the question, and I want to do a whole video on this, right? But I want to ask the question. What part do women and girls play in the violence and in the culture of today? What part do you think women play? Do women and girls, I don't even want to say women, I'm going to say females or girls. Do they play any part in the culture, the state of the culture today? Because let's keep it real, man. I remember back in the day when the tide changed, when the ladies said that they want a roughneck, right? All right, hold up. Follow me, right? Because I'm an old head, right? So I remember when it was Afrocentric, and I remember when it was fun, it was party, it was dance. And then I remember when it came to the gangster shit, and the women started telling us what they wanted. The women started saying, hey, we don't want no punk ass nigga. We want gangsters. We want hot boys. Go listen to the song Hot Boys by Missy. MC Light, Need a Roughneck. The tide changed, and the women start telling us what they want, right? And I remember being in junior high school, and it was cool to do certain things. All you had to do was look good back in that day, in that time. But it was a certain period of time where the bad boy became in style, right? And then next thing you know, the fellas, they saw what the women like. I'm not saying that's what I did. But a lot of people saw what the girls like. So they started transforming themselves so they can be desirable. So I'm asking, what part do women or females have in the state of the culture? Because I'm going to just keep it real. I think they're getting a pass. I think they're getting a pass, dog. And this whole street culture, street, whatever you want to call it, I think the women get a pass because a lot of women will tell you that they want a certain type of male, right? They don't want a soft male. They don't want, they'll totally dismiss that hard-working male. And they want the guy who is in the street. Let's just keep it real. A lot of the women want a street dude, or they will profess that they want a street dude. So what I think is what goes on is a lot of men, they think in order to be accepted by these women, they need to be in the street and they need to have the image of a street dude. So back to my point, once we get out of that thinking and we decide whether you did a long prison bid, whether you get your ass shot up, whether you just have a kid, have children, have a family, and you just decide, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. The thing is with black folks, dog, they always try to make it seem like we have to be street niggas forever. We have to live by this code forever. When you decide to not be in the streets anymore, what is the code of how are you supposed to conduct yourself? You cannot conduct yourself as a street guy if you are not in the street. I learned that, I was taught that, I was told that. You have to get rid of that whole low image because you will be pulled back. You will constantly be pulled back. I cannot be associated or be hanging out with the street cats because I will be pulled back, right? So in short, what I'm saying is if you decide you don't want to be in the streets anymore, you have to get all the way out. You have to do things different. You have to change everything. You understand? A lot of stuff has to go, man. And I'm saying a lot of people get caught back up. They're getting good people getting drawn back into the chaos because they're not fully letting go of their image. They're not fully letting go of those war stories. You know what I'm saying? They're not fully letting go of that past. Let the past be the past. Tell your stories. There's a time and a place for everything. But at the same time, man, you don't want to wear that as your identity. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to wear anything I've done that's negative as my identity because it's going to be somebody that walks up and say, oh, they're going to look at you like, you a street dude? Okay, well, watch this. I'm going to test you. You understand? And then you end up in a situation. So, yeah, man, it's just something I've been watching on YouTube, man, and I hope I like Big Psych, man. I like how he's carrying it. I like how he is he's doing what he gotta do to get his name back, or however he feel like he needs to do it. He's going up against the troll stuff that Aunt Glizzy is doing. I think that everybody should grow up though. Everybody needs to grow up, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's violence breeds more violence. We all know this. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Once you get out the street, it ain't no rapping tough. It ain't no acting as if. Nah, you got to get out all the way out. You know what I'm saying? Or else you're gonna get tied back in. I've seen it happen. I've seen people, uh, relinquish the title of a street nigga, and they still had that. It's an inside job. You really gotta work on your ego. You gotta let go of the image. You gotta let go of a lot of things, man, because you don't want to hold on to that. And people say the old me, all this the old me stuff, right? And the reality is these young boys don't care about the old you or the new you. Let's just keep it real. Young boys don't care about the old you. They don't care about the old stories. They don't care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I might touch on this topic a little bit more. Um, I just think it's important, man, that we grow up, man, and be the men that we supposed to be. You know, it's time to dispel this curse that we've been given. You know, this fantasy that they told us, and they sold us. They sold us this bullshit, dog. And you talk to a lot of people that's been locked up for a long time, they'll tell you it's all bullshit. And some people lose their life, man. Some people get deleted off the earth. They never find out that this was it was some BS. You know what I'm saying? The reality is that my message for the day is there's nothing like coming home to your family, making dinner, kissing your kids, right? There's nothing like that, man. Not having to worry about watching your back, not having to worry about the police coming to your house. It's not. I want to tell all the young boys that, man. I don't claim to be a youth advocate. We got plenty of youth advocates out here. But guess what? The youth are just as bad as ever. Where are these niggas advocating, dog? Because these youth are running wild, wilder than ever, man. I want to know where everybody is advocating for the youth at. What is really going on? I don't preach to the youth because they don't want to hear it. I try to live by example. You know what I'm saying? I try to show the youth how I live instead of preach to them, because they're going to do what they want to do either way. We can plant the seeds or whatever, but I don't claim to be a youth advocate. You know what I'm saying? I advocate for my youth. My little ones, those are the ones I preach to. Those are the ones that I'll advocate for. I can't advocate for everybody else. I can live by example, though. So, hey, big shout out to everybody who tuned in. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. We got some more stuff coming. And I appreciate y'all. Hope everybody has a great day. And y'all have a good night.